Oh, hello. Welcome back to Speakeasy. I am still Paul F. Tompkins, and my guest today, you will recognize her from her roles in such things as everything you've ever seen. Please say hello to Judy Greer. Judy, hello.
Hello, Paul.
Cheers. Thank you for being here.
Cheers. Thanks for having me. This is so fun.
And you bring an element of class with the champagne.
I know. I was watching past episodes and I was like, am I being boring?
By drinking champagne?
Well, everyone's like having cool, but I couldn't think of anything.
You mean like a cocktail, like a fancy cocktail?
Yes. And now I know that mixology is like what all the kids are into these days, but can I tell you, like, I think I'm done. Like, I'm not.
You're done experimenting?
I'm done. Like, I know what I like, and I know that I don't like waiting 30 minutes for someone to, like, eyedropper in, like, some pumpkin dust and blow oxygen in it. Oh, yeah.
Wait, this sounds intriguing. This pumpkin dust cocktail.
So I've been, like, anti that lately.
I get the craftsmanship that goes into mixology. By
Me
the way,
too.
Mixology, it's been debunked as a science.
Crap.
But yeah, so first of all,
I've made a small wager on something. It's not important.
don't let a mixologist prescribe anything to you. Now, talking about Chicago, you did go to school there.
Yes.
And you have a degree, don't you?
Yes, I do. I have what do I have? What did they give me my degree in? It would be...
How many times has Stephen Hawking wondered the same thing? My degrees
because
again?
he's gonna say which one.
Right.
What did they write on that piece of paper? It's a bachelor's of... Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for it.
Fine arts. Not arts.
You'll notice my pinky is out.
Hence the champagne. It's a Bachelor of Fine Arts I got. But I only recently got it because apparently, and I was just telling my stepson this because he lost a library book and had to pay for it out of his birthday money because that's the kind of step-parent I am. So I told him, you know, Lucas, I did not get my college diploma because I didn't return my library books.
Is that so?
Yeah, so when I opened my red thing, there was nothing in it.
Was there a note that said, hey, how about them library
I don't
books?
remember if there was a note in it or not because the rest of the day got foggy, but anyhow, I ended up going back to my school a few years ago and getting one of those like fake awards for doing nothing so that people come and have their picture taken with you and give the school money, and they did give me. They gave me a degree or diploma or whatever that piece of paper is. So I have it.
The sheepskin.
Yes.
So did Lucas feel that this was a valuable lesson and he was grateful to have learned it?
Well, no, Lucas actually was the one that pitched the birthday money idea.
Well, he sounds like a young Abe Lincoln.
He really is.
Your acting career is an amazing catalog of work, and just going through your IMDb, it's a million things. And
Who has the time?
If someone wants to make a project of reading all of Judy's IMDb page, please write and tell us the results.
Please.
And you've worked in such a variety of things as well. You've done
Yes.
comedy, you've done drama, you've done all different genres, and now you're writing. You're in the process of writing a book.
Yeah.
About your life and career.
Yeah.
And the title of the book is perfect.
You, I feel like, would appreciate the title a lot.
I totally get it. It's I don't know where you know me from.
I don't know what you know me from.
Oh, yes. So, because a common question that people will ask of a working actor such as yourself is, where do I know you from?
Oh, yeah.
Which is a crazy question to ask someone.
Well, it's weird, and I do have a little tiny bit of compassion for the people who ask it, just the tiniest bit, because I know that feeling, and like probably a lot of times someone's like staring at you, and then they feel bad, and they're like, I know that I know you, I don't know what I know you from, I'm so sorry, you know, but like.
That's a little bit better, isn't it? If somebody says, I know that I know you from somewhere, but I can't figure out where it is, as opposed to putting it on you and saying, where do I know you from?
It's so weird because I had this experience, I was actually working on my book. I was at the Lazy Dog Cafe in Thousand Oaks, where I like to have a cheeseburger and write my book.
Sure.
And like all writers do, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I was there, I was writing my book by myself in a back corner booth. I was having lunch, and this woman comes up to me and she's like, you were in Meet the Fockers. And I was like, oh no, I wasn't in that. Yes, you were. And I was like, nope. I really wasn't in it. This whole conversation just tickled me to no end because I was just writing about it. And she goes, so what were you in then?
Oh.
And it was so intense. And I was like, why do I have to now, like, I don't understand why now it becomes a thing where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let me tell you all the things.
But I'm sure you've had this this situation too, where maybe you'll offer something that you think, oh, this is what they probably have seen.
Right.
And the response is, no.
And then you're like, okay, well, what about this? Oh, I didn't see that either. And then it becomes to a point where you can tell they're just lying and saying yes, because like everyone wants it to end. And I'm like, okay, well, what about Marmaduke? Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely saw Marmaduke.
Marmaduke, right.
I have a comeback for you.
What?
If you would like to, let's role play the
yeah.
situation.
Okay.
You be the person and ask me, what do I know you from?
Okay. You look so familiar. What do I know you from?
It ain't from mind reading school. Yeah, right? Just shut them down.
I'm going to turn it into the Midwestern Judy version, which is, I don't know, mind reading school?
I think the effect will be the same.
I think so too.
You had never written a book before, is that correct?
I've never written really anything, and
School, essays, things like that?
I guess.
But, you know, when you
In
were a
college,
kid.
in college, where most people learn their awesome writing skills, like I was in acting class. I was
Right.
pretending I was a tiger and like going to yoga. So this agent at my agency called and had talked to me about maybe wanting to write this book, and they said I could write it with someone if I wanted to, that I could, you know, have a co-writer since I'm not a writer.
You could do an as told to.
Something like that.
Right.
So I was like, duh, yeah, I'm totally doing that. Like, I don't know how to write anything. So I say yes, and I hang up the phone of this conference call. And I remember starting to like just immediately fantasize about the outfits I'd wear on my book tour. And as I was like,
Perhaps jumping the gun a tiny bit.
you know what, don't start with me.
No, I'm just a tiny bit maybe.
So I'm like starting to do this. And then I start imagining the actual interviews, and I'm thinking about being interviewed by, Oprah, and talking about my book that I wrote with Sadie Sadofferson. And I'm like, how do I talk about my book if I've actually haven't, I don't know, it just started to feel weird when I started to think about describing this process of writing my book. Well, I met this perfect stranger, and then I hung out with her every day for 6 months and told her my life story, and it's like, I don't know. And nothing against people who do that, because I get it.
Right.
But I said to my agent, like, can I take a crack at it first? I called back right away, like within 10 minutes, and I was like, I think can I change my answer? I think I want to try doing it myself first. And then I ended up, they liked what I wrote, so they said that I could turn it in. So
Are you
I did.
finished? Do you finish a first draft of it?
Well, I actually, this is a Wednesday, and I turned in my content in its entirety on Monday.
Okay.
So like 2 days ago, yeah.
So that's the first step in, now it's going to be revised, edited, all that. Yeah.
So my editor has been editing it as I've been going, so now I go back and I do her edits, and then we put it all together and see what it's like as a book and edit it one more time. But basically, it's written, like I wrote a book.
So you enjoyed the process on the whole?
I kind of did.
Yeah.
Everyone was telling me like, oh, I wrote my book at this like coffee shop, or like this, you know, like, yeah, I took my computer a couple times out to eat because I was hungry, but like for the most part, I'm like 20 ounces of coffee, silent room, laptop, like, and I have to talk out loud, but I did enjoy it. It was so different from anything I'd ever done. I did a lot of internet shopping.
People don't like to acknowledge this always, but procrastination is a big part of writing.
My house is really clean.
I'll bet it is.
My emails are getting answered.
I'll bet they were.
For the first time.
Right.
I have lots of new shoes.
You're writing about this amazing career that you have, which also includes recently Archer, the animated show on FX, which you love doing, I gather. This is not your first foray into voiceover, right?
No, I did this movie called The Cat Returns. You've probably seen it, right? The Cat Returns. It's a Japanese anime. It's like Marmaduke in that it's an animal, but it was a cat, but it was anime. No, I'm kidding. No one saw The Cat Returns, but I was totally in it, and I was awesome. But then Nickelodeon, Nick at Night, I think it was where it ended up, did this really awesome show called Glenn Martin DDS, and it was like stop motion.
Oh, yes, that's right.
It was so good and so funny, and I did it, we did like, I think 3 or 4 seasons of that, and it was so fun, and no one watched it, so it got canceled, but that kind of led me to, I think, Archer. It's a club.
Yeah, it's a somewhat insular world.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to get in there.
It's so funny, and I friends with like, you know, a couple actors who you'd recognize and probably would know what you knew them from, and they all were like, how can I? And I'm like, oh, I see how it is. It's hard, and Archer just fell into my lap, and then it's turned into this like great experience. The people are so awesome. The character's so weird. It's like the kind of thing I can't imagine how we could never shoot our scripts live action because they're so dirty and naughty.
Describe your character for the audience.
Her name is Cheryl Tunt. And turns out she's a billionaire. She has this job for fun. She works for Mallory Archer, who owns ISIS, the agency, the spy agency. And some of her pastimes include hanging out with her ocelot, getting strangled while she has sex, huffing.
Sure.
I'm gonna stop.
That's. I think we have more than enough to go on.
Okay. In the pilot episode, my character was crying because Archer had sex with her and then stood her up. And so I was like, oh, I'm playing the weepy assistant who's pining for Archer all the time, and that's gonna be my role in this show. And it's just gone totally crazy, and it's so awesome. That's been the most fun part because I thought oh, I know what I'm doing, and I have no idea what I'm doing now.
So, Arrested Development, back on Netflix.
Yeah.
It had been a little while since you had visited those characters.
Yeah.
A year or two. Was it? We had Tony Hale on here, and
Oh my God.
no, he's not here.
Okay.
That was a reaction that could have gone either way. Either he's the most wonderful person in the world, or please tell me he's not
Number
over
one.
my shoulder.
Number one. Wait, he's not supposed to be within 500 feet of me. He's not here right now, right?
No, he's
Okay, good.
Yes.
God, I was just I was just watching Veep last night. Just there's nothing that comes out of his mouth that doesn't make me laugh.
He's hilarious. And
God.
he's a dear, darling dear.
He's a sweet pea.
But he was saying that there was a little anxiety of getting back into those
He's
characters.
wrong about that.
Well,
I'm kidding.
there's nothing better than declaring someone's feelings wrong. It's the best.
He was wrong to feel that way.
Did you have any trepidation getting back into your character of Kitty? Was it sort of did you rewatch any of the stuff before you went back in?
I did rewatch stuff just because I wanted to for fun. I didn't, because I trust Mitch Hurwitz. I know he would never steer us in the wrong direction. So I knew that either it would be written so perfectly that I would be able to immediately get back into it, or because the time had passed in the show as well, we weren't going back to where we left off, so then I didn't feel as scared.
Right.
But I also didn't have as much to do as them. So, and everyone's kind of gone on and did different things. I've just been playing Kitty this whole time, so.
In other shows.
In other, yeah.
What's Kitty doing here?
Woo!
You do work so much. Do you think about pulling back? Are you an actor that is always thinking, this job will be my last job?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time.
So you can't rest.
I
You
can't.
have to keep moving forward.
I want so badly to be like that, but it's just not in me. I'm like, well, that was fun. That was a great career. I'm completely shocked every time I get a role and completely convinced it'll be my last.
Right.
I won't even ski. I'm terrified. What if I break something?
You don't want to mess with your fortune.
I feel like I could still work if this was all jacked up, but I'm more worried about my leg. I'm a character actress. I could be missing some vital chunk. I think it would be okay.
But characters are always ambulatory.
Welcome. Oh, sorry, that's USA.
They're always welcome and very funny. That's
Yeah.
TBS.
Yes.
Going from Instagram, it seems that you're active in the stepkids' lives and you see games and celebrate birthdays and things like that.
Yeah.
So you're not worried necessarily that you're working too hard and missing out on stuff. Because it's tough to balance.
It is. It's really hard. Last summer was the first time that I had my panties in a bunch because we had planned a family vacation in Hawaii. And summertime is a great time to make a movie, let's say, a giant movie like Carrie. And it shoots in Toronto. And I was like, this is my job and I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? I just really didn't feel like I could say no to it. And magic happened and somehow I was able to carve out of my schedule, or my manager, who's awesome, was able to carve out of my schedule a week so that I could fly to LA, grab the team and fly to Hawaii for a week, and it was so great. And I'm just so thankful I was able to see my stepkids stand on Hawaiian soil and walk into an ocean that was warm and not freezing and filled with disease and diapers. You know what I mean? It was so cool.
It's a weird bargain with the kind of life that you have.
I know.
Because you can't you know, you're not going to make all these movies and TV shows are not necessarily going to be in your backyard.
Yes,
It requires a
true.
lot of being on the road and everything.
So I've been desperately trying to find stability. I've been trying to get on a TV show forever. I do pilot season every year. I always try to get on a TV show. And this year, again, doing pilot season, I read this script that I loved so much, but it shot in New York. And it was the first time that, and I was like really nervous telling my agent this, but it was the first time that I was like, I can't.
Was that scary?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was super scary.
Because a job's a job.
And then I didn't get a pilot. And I was like, wow, yeah, that's totally, I didn't want a pilot, whatever. And then eventually, like, this really cool pilot came around for FX that I am gonna shoot, and it shoots in LA. But that was a really scary, like, no. And it wasn't like they offered me the role, I had to go and meet for it, but still, I was like, wow, I'm doing this. I'm saying no. Putting myself first.
How long did it take before that felt good?
It didn't. I guess when I got the
still
next
doesn't.
pilot. It wasn't until I got my FX pilot that I felt really good about it.
God.
I'm a horrible person.
No, it's a totally understandable fear and anxiety that this could all go away because it's
know.
all ephemeral anyway.
Yeah.
And even if you get on a show, the show has to last. And even if it lasts, it has to last for a certain amount of time.
I know.
So you're like, you're never done kind of worrying about it.
Ever.
Until you just stop worrying about it.
I know. And then
know?
you get on a huge hit show and it's great and everyone's watching it and you're making buckets of cash. And then you're like, now people are just going to see me as this character. Like, you know, you just can never win. But you can win because you just save your money and don't buy Porsches.
Just buy tons of shoes.
Just buy a lot of shoes.
With all the travel and everything, you've decided to make the most of it, and you have this series that you are producing yourself.
Yeah.
Which is sort of a self-help exercise.
It's an exercise
guide.
It's a healthy living series.
Right.
What do you call? I don't know what to call it.
What is the name of the show?
It's called Reluctantly Healthy. And I really put my foot down about the title of the show. They wanted it to be called something horrible. They wanted to call it Healthy Gal on the Go. And I was like, I'm not doing that show.
Although, you know what's fun to say? HG on the G.
Oh, no one pitched it like that.
Well, it's a good thing I wasn't there at that meeting.
Someone get Yahoo on the phone. So I pitched this idea mostly because I wanted to learn how to do things and I didn't want to pay for it. Like I wanted to learn how to cook and exercise and in the beginning, like take out the fashion aspect. I wanted it to be like a blue collar Goop. I wanted it to be like Goop for people who are normal. I didn't want it to be like, all you have to do is just hire a personal chef 3 days a week and have them cook you a bunch of stuff you can freeze. It's like, that's not,
It's so efficient.
Yeah.
Ask your maid to put these things on the top shelf.
I worked with a director once who had 3 kids, and I was like, how do you do it? Like, how do you, your schedule and the 3 kids? And she's like, it's not that hard. And I was like, really? She's like, it's not.
It's
you just
not
have
that hard.
She goes, you just have someone come in and like cook a couple meals a week, and they freeze things for you. You have someone to clean up, and then you have someone help like during the day. And I'm like, who are you talking to? Like, that's not real. That's not how people live.
Why didn't you just say, oh, I'm rich?
Yes, thank you.
How do you do it? I'm rich.
I was like, oh, right. Say no more.
Right.
No, I understand. Yes, you're right.
You're going to be in the next Planet of the Apes movie. This is, I believe they're having their dawn.
Yes.
This is the dawn of the Planet of the
Dawn
Apes?
of, yeah.
And you are playing a ape.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like the main Apes bitch. I'm Cornelia. I'm Caesar's wife. Caesar's played by Andy Serkis. But I did really want to play an ape, actually. Like, I really wanted to because it's something I haven't done before. And watching Andy Serkis perform with the motion capture suit on and the helmet and everything.
And he also did Gollum in Lord of the Rings,
Yes.
and you know he's done all these
Yes.
amazing motion capture performances.
None of which I've seen.
Yeah, but he's the guy in that field,
Right.
You know, who is the king of motion capture acting. You know?
Yeah.
And he's an actual actor
He's like
as well.
the Paul Newman of motion capture acting, and
Yeah.
I'm about to be Joanne Woodward. What? So watching him and seeing how close to his performance the motion capture people kept Caesar, the character, like that was what was so, that like blew my mind, that like Andy himself was making me cry in these like behind the scenes videos, and then they were showing Andy and the finished product of Caesar, like split screen, and it's the same performance. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I could do this. I could do a role like that and really add something.
Because were you worried that there might not be enough for you as an actor? Because there's so much special effects. Was that the fear?
I was just wondering, like, how much of your performance really comes through?
Like, does it matter what you do?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I went and did this audition with Terry, the ape guru, and I went and worked out with some of the apes, the stunt guys who were playing apes, and I did like a warm up with them, and we did this whole like movement exercise, and then he videotaped me with his iPhone, and I improv'd a scene as an ape.
Oh my God.
So that's out there.
Right.
I mean, I don't even want to ever see it. But they did videotape me like pretending I was an ape for about 15 minutes.
That's a long ape
You have
improv.
no idea. You have no idea. And they don't have snacks at ape school.
Right.
It's not like there's craft service.
I would say this beats that story about Daniel Day-Lewis and Sally Field improvising as the Lincolns.
Oh God, did they do that?
Yeah.
I don't know that story.
Steven Spielberg wasn't sure that Sally Field would be the right choice opposite Daniel Day-Lewis, so she said, please let me come in and read for it. And so they did I think a 90-minute improv as the Lincolns, which, look, a little improv goes a long way. That's all I'm saying. 90 minutes.
A lot of improv.
Who did not want to stop that?
Daniel Day-Lewis, 100%. 100%. I guarantee that when Sally Field tells that story, she's like, and he just didn't stop. He just kept going and going and going, and I really wanted the part, so I wasn't going to stop.
You got fitted for.
I did get fitted for
unitard.
my unitard and my helmet. They measured my head.
Right.
And I was really excited because I was like, I'm not going to have to go through hair and makeup for the first time ever. And then a friend of mine pointed out, like, well, they'll probably take an hour to stick all those sensors all over you every day. And I was like, ugh, I can't even eat a burrito while they do that. At least in hair and makeup, I can.
And that's how you measure anything worth doing. Can I eat a burrito during it? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
it was
you
a
for
pleasure
having
chatting
me.
with you as always. I'll see you soon in real life.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this episode of Speakeasy. Please tune in next time when my guest will be a different person.
I thought this was our new show.
It's going to be you in a disguise.
Oh, right, of course.
That's right.
I'll wear my unitard.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and check back every Monday to see who I interview next. And for more info about Speakeasy, visit mademan.com.